guys, it's been a very slow transfer window for Tottenham so far, but we have had some news in the last 24 hours that Son, our captain Son, might be going to LAFC, who, by the way, their biggest ever transfer of signing a player is about £9.5 million. So I don't know what they're thinking they're paying for Son. But let me start with Stel in the top left. Stel, Son, is it the right time to go? Is he still better than anything else we've got? What are we saying? You selling him or not?
First of all, good to be on the channel. Good evening, everyone watching the show and everyone that watches this on the replay. I'm a little bit disappointed to be on this channel because I've taken a month off and I've been playing my favourite board game, Monopoly. So I'm a bit disappointed to not be playing Monopoly anymore. But I'm here. I'm here instead on YouTube.
Very good. Nice.
Yeah, look, Sonny for me. I hope we sell him. I genuinely hope we sell him because he has been one of our best players over the last decade. The last 2 years, he hasn't quite been the same player. I know there's going to be stats that people can pull out and say, but hold on, look at this, look at that. He's still assisting, scoring. Fair enough, but he's not been the same player. And I think every player comes to the end of their journey at a club. And I would love to see Sonny leave because it means he leaves on a high. He leaves as captain of the club who lifted the Europa Cup. He leaves as a legend, which he will be for many of us fans because he's part of a squad that won a trophy. And rather than leaving on any, he should have left ages ago. Why didn't we sell him when we could have got more money? He leaves now in good spirits. If he stays, I fear we're not going to see him get better. In fact, I think he's going to stagnate further. And fans will start booing him and calling him out. And I don't want that because he's, like I said, he's a legend. To me, he's a legend. So I'd like to see Sonny sold. If we're going to build a team for the future, and let's see, because we're always building a project, then we just kind of cut off the project after 18 months. So I'm still not convinced about this one, but I'm sure we'll get into it and disagree and agree. But I don't see Sonny as part of a future project. If we're serious, as Daniel said, to build a team that's going to win the Premier League and the Champions League.
Daniel?
Well, he said we're going to win the Premier League and the Champions League.
Stel's leaving in now. Stel's leaving in just for this new channel. He's leaving in.
Me and Daniel. I don't think I've ever heard you call him Daniel.
It's taken 4 years to figure out the truth, eh? He's my chairman. My chairman.
Daniel.
If I've got to be that careful with what I say, I'm bringing a lawyer on every single show and proofread what I'm going to say. Look, Daniel said that we're going to win the league. He said we're going to win the Premier League, the Champions League. If we're going to build a team to do it, I don't see how Sonny's part of that or any of the older guard like Ben Davies and so on. So, yeah, to answer your question, I think we should sell Son and let him leave on a high. Don't let him stick around.
Can I say, Sava, but in all honesty, right, with the LA thing, right, as I was saying to Sean, and we've discussed it on Football Inc., there's only one way this deal gets done, similar to the deals that were done with David Beckham and Messi, whereby they give them a percentage of the shirt sales and the ability for any uplift in attendances and overall merchandise, and the ability to buy a stake in the actual club itself. Messi was allowed to buy a 1% stake in Inter Miami for 12 million per 1 or 2%. The unusual thing with Sonny, he's not like your usual footballer, because normally a footballer will come with a bit of his fan base of people who love him, but he comes with a whole nation. So when you say quite rightly that the biggest deal that's been done with LA is only £9 million, I think this deal is done forward, maybe financed with the hope that they're going to be bringing in millions and millions in shirt sales, large Korean community out in Los Angeles and out in America in general. And I think this makes a lot of sense. Like Stel said, for me, he's a hero. He's a player that I've loved since he's been here. Who didn't love the partnership between Sonny and Harry Kane? It was magical. I think it's probably the best partnership there's been for goals and assists in the Premier League history. But everything has to end. And as Stel also said, to end on a high, walk away with the trophy, kissing the trophy, and achieving that 10-year dream of actually winning silverware for the club. Go hold his head up high, and doesn't cock block the rest of the players we've got coming through. Whether you believe in Matthias Tell or Mikey Moore or Manor Solomon, or how most people see it, a new left wing signing. I think he has to go. The time is right.
Can I just ask, before I bring in Lubo and Sean, guys, I want to mix it up for you two. Isn't the worry going to be that if we let Son go, are we sure we're going to actually replace him? Or have we already got the replacement in Matisse Tell?
Go on, Lubo.
What are you replacing, though? What does he do now that needs replacing?
Well, he's our starting left-sided forward, isn't he?
Yeah, but what does he offer now? The current Son, what does he offer?
Look, I completely agree with you. I'm just trying to point out that if you're going to let go of a player that has been one of your best players for a better part of 10 years, it's going to be very underwhelming if I see Tell as that guy lining up on the left-hand side immediately. I'm all for his development, but as a starting left-sided forward, it's a massive drop-off, isn't it?
It is a bit, which is why I think he'll start with 3-5-2, and I think you'll see Udogie going down the left. Honestly, he's got his. For me, the way it looks already is that he's got his cover on at left back with Mickey, who he'll just slot across. He's got Danso, he's got Romero, who's still at the club, and I can see Romero staying. Romero wanted Champions League football. He wanted to see trophies. He's got both. Don't understand why he would want to leave. To be honest, exciting new manager. I think it's going to be an exciting season, particularly after Christmas, when the guys have learnt, when they've integrated into Frank's system. That's how I think he'll play it. And, for me, I want to remember Sonny, the 2 goals he scored at the Etihad, the day we beat them in the Champions League quarter-final. There was a spectacular goal at Middlesbrough. I remember early on, still first or second season, when we were last up there, the goal he scored against Burnley when he ran 50, 60, 70 yards. That's how I want to remember Son. Now's the time to go. With the trophy.
Can I ask you, sorry, I want to ask you, though, you've said there that we'll go to a 3-5-2. In the 3-5-2, what does that mean for so far our one and only first team signing in terms of Mohamed Kudus?
Well, I think he'll play any 2. Personally, I think we'll start with Kudus and Solanke.
Are you you think he's going to go with Kudus up top?
No.
Yes.
Lubo, what are we doing here? We're so far away from what's going to happen.
You're doing
Sean,
it.
come on, we're 10 minutes in. We need a row.
Listen, I haven't had a drink. I deliberately didn't have a drink because I didn't want to start the show off with a firework. But Lubo, what? Hey, he's not. He's starting with the back 4. Right? It's obvious. I think to everyone, it's a 4-2-3-1 or some variation of it. So I can't agree with that sort of take. In terms of Sonny, for me, I agree with what Stel said. I agree with Johnny said. Right time to sunset the story. Right time to move him on. The problem is, I don't think LA is appetizing for him. I think that he doesn't care about money. I don't believe. I think he said that already. I think he's got to the point where money doesn't matter anymore. He's looking for more than that. And I think that for him, if you move to a place like Turkey or a place like Saudi or a place like America, that is the acceptance of the downfall, the decline of your career. He was out in career, not career. He was out in career for the international break before the end of the season. And I remember when he wasn't playing and he wasn't getting the minutes, and the Korean media said to him, "What's going on? Why aren't you playing?" He said, "You have to ask the boss. I'm the fittest I've ever been." I think the guy's in denial. I think he's a little bit sad. I think he knows deep down that he's on the decline and he doesn't have that turn of pace anymore. But I don't think he wants to go to a place like America because it's a graveyard of great footballers. Same with Saudi, same with possibly Turkey. And I think that he will dig his heels in because I don't think he wants to accept the fact that he can't play at the top level anymore. And whilst I completely agree with Johnny about it would be great if we could move him on, I think that 90% of the Tottenham fan base are all in agreement. Don't ruin the legacy. Don't do the Hugo Lloris. Know when it's time to say goodbye. Go to Korea. Do your testimonial in front of your own fans. Let that be the last thing. Then we'll say goodbye. A really uncomfortable part of me is thinking that he's going to cock block our summer.
Well, the good thing is, Sean, unlike Hugo Lloris, Daniel is going to give him a winner's watch as opposed to the loser's watch. But I get your drift, and I agree. He's living in a river in Egypt, but he has to come to the realization that it's time. I think you could be right. I think he could dig his heels in until January. The problem here for Spurs is that we have to fulfill our obligation out in Asia. If he doesn't turn up, we lose 75% of the appearance fee. If he doesn't play in the game, we lose 50% of the appearance fee. So there's no chance whatsoever that he's not going to play in that game. I think we have to assess what the news is and how the news moves on from that point after that game finishes. I think right now it's more of a guessing game. But I believe that the LA thing is a good thing. And look, if you look at the details of what Messi and David Beckham have achieved, they've earned more money moving out to America through these deals, incentive deals of percentages in acquiring. I mean, David Beckham's acquired a franchise that he paid a minimal amount for and is worth 10, 20 times what he's paid for it, plus all the shirt sales. Same with Messi and all his incentives. I think if LA, which really, as Sava says, isn't a big club, but he could make it a big club if they give him that stake. Let's see what happens.
The other thing also...
Hang on. Sorry, just quickly, Lubo. Sorry, I don't feel like you've had enough heat here yet for that opinion. I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm sorry. You would play... But this is the first time in about 5, 6, 7 years I can remember Spurs buying a proper winger with skill, pace, direct running, trickery, and you want to stick him up top with Dominic Solanke. I'm baffled.
And to be entirely honest, Sava, like Lou, but the only reason that you went into that 3-5-2 weird thing was by suggesting that Sonny was going to play, and then under the duress of the question around Kudus, you suddenly suggested that Sonny wasn't going to be playing at all.
No,
and that Solanke and Kudus were going to be playing.
I don't think. Listen, Sonny came on. He came on the second half the other day. He just looked so short, and I don't want to remember Sonny.
Bloody heightist.
Be in the shadow of the player that he was. And he won't get away with it with Frank like he did with Ange. And yes, his goals and assists were credible, they were respectable, but he's on the way down. And if people are saying Tell's not ready and Mikey Moore's not ready, Solomon, who knows?
How do you know he won't get away with it?
What, with Frank?
Yeah.
Well, Ange had Sonny as his captain, so he had to keep playing him. But
we did 15 minutes without mentioning Ange Postecoglou.
Every manager keeps playing Sonny. Every single manager.
Yeah,
I don't think Frank's going to buckle. I don't think Frank's going to be any different if Sonny stays.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. It's like he's got the keys to the kingdom, isn't he?
Well, he's opened the door to maybe Romero being captain by splitting the captaincy between the two at Reading. So let's see how that proceeds.
Pre-season, though, isn't it? It's just one half the kids play, one half. For me, pre-season will give very little indication as to what the real season's going to look like in terms of players playing and starting 11. Every year we go through this, we see things pre-season, then the season starts is completely different to what we've been seeing. Maybe the formations and the style of play stays the same, but team selection, he'll go with his strongest 11. Every manager does.
Still, do you mean like every pre-season when we see a couple of kids do well in the pre-season games and everyone says they're gonna be a star and then they get loaned out the week before we start the season?
Basically, yes.
Yeah. I just can't believe this. I can't imagine Frank will start with 3-5-2. So I'm going to bring it back to if he plays his favoured formation, which is a 4-2-3-1. I'm in two minds. I'm happy for Son to go. My worry is, will they replace him? They've got to go out for me if they sell Son. It's got to be a Mikatadze. If I've hopefully said the name right, it's got to be a Matoma. It's got, you know what I mean? It's got to be someone that.
Mikatadze, by the way, is.
Class.
He's not just. I genuinely think that guy would be a revelation in the Premier League.
Yeah,
I think he'd be a revelation in the Premier League. I think he'd be someone that everyone's like, when he first arrives, most people that have forgotten Euro 2024 would go, "Who? Who have Tottenham signed?" And then in 6 weeks, everyone's like, "Oh my God, who's that guy? Why didn't we get him?" I'd be so disappointed if he stays at Lyon. Apparently, he's happy at Lyon. Apparently, Lyon don't want to sell him. But then Lyon have just got to create a batshit crazy owner who decides to take 90 million quid out of their club's accounts, transfer it via a bank transfer to their the owner's other club in Brazil, so he can buy a couple of players to make them win the Copa Libertadores and then do some shenanigans to move it back later.
John Textor, our famous guy.
John Textor is an absolute lunatic. How he gets away with that stuff is crazy.
But do you agree, Sean? It's got to be. I think we need to get to a place where both our wide men are dangerous. You know what I mean? Because at the moment,
exactly.
I can see what will happen. At the moment, I can see that what we will do, I know it's early doors, is we're going to get it to Kudus at every opportunity because he's the guy that can drag you up the pitch. He's the guy with the trickery. I want us to be a team
not if Sonny starts, though, because this is the problem. So when Sonny's on the pitch, we do everything down our left-hand side. We accommodate him like we accommodate Richarlison when he's playing.
True.
When Richarlison's playing, we seem to forego our entire strategy and just lump the ball into the box because it's the only thing that he can do is be a nuisance and he's decent in the air. And everyone knows he can't trap a bag of cement. So we have to adapt our entire team strategy to accommodate him. And we do exactly the same thing with Sonny. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of accommodating people because of their brand and because of their vulnerabilities, their weaknesses that we therefore have to play to their strengths. How about just don't play them?
Can I just say, I think you're all looking at this from a one-dimensional perspective in the sense that we're dealing with a coach that I've watched for 5 years through default, I must hasten to add. And just when I thought I've understood his system, he changes it. Just as I thought I'm watching the game and I know what he's doing, he changes it mid-game. This is a guy that doesn't have one tactic. He doesn't have one way of playing. And I think what he wants, judging by some of the players we've been linked with and we are signing, he likes a player that can adapt, that has a football brain, that can change tactics and understand when we're changing from a 4-2-3-1 or a 5-3-2 or a 4-3-3 or however he changes within the game. They understand that. And they're adaptable enough if we get an injury or something happens during the game and he can the tactics need to be changed. So you need to be able to be fluid in understanding the tactics. And I think that's what we're so used to, Ange Postecoglou, his one way of playing football up until the injuries came along, that we're sort of stuck in that 2-year rut. And I think, you've got to get your head out of that sort of one-dimensional approach to the game, because that isn't going to happen. I think we're going to come here to watch the first game and we're going to say, all right, he's set up like this. And then the next game, well, he's going to do this, and then find he doesn't, because he would change tactics depending on who we're playing. And he would look to exploit any weaknesses and negate any of their strengths. And that, for me, is Thomas Frank's strength. And, in my opinion, Ange Postecoglou's weakness. But we shall see. So I think adaptability in the signings that we make is really important, and why you're looking at players we can sign, or we're looking to sign, that can play in more than one position.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to be interesting with tactics because we're going from Burnley to Man City, first 2 games. So
got PSG before that, mate.
Yeah.
Can we do the Chelsea, Lubo? Can we just figure out a recipe that just like nullifies the beef that is PSG, the beast that is PSG, or are we going to get our asses handed to us?
Sure. I don't want to trigger everyone, but I'm going to trigger you all. I've been told, right, and again, let's wait and see. I'm going to wait and see. I'm not going to say yes or no as to what I think is going to happen, but I thought Ange is going to coach everyone and he's going to develop players. So any concerns, Thomas Frank, any concerns we've got?
Ange on the mind there still. You got.
Did I say Ange?
Ange.
Can we edit that out later on? Can we edit that? Who's in charge of editing the video? Just edit that bit. Yeah, I was told that, you know, this is one thing that a lot of people have been talking about on multiple channels, not just, you know, you guys, that Frank is a really, really good coach. Therefore, surely he can develop some existing players. He can bring through the youth and develop the youngsters because he's really good with that, because he was a youth coach as well, wasn't he? Before he became a professional.
So was Cochrane, at Man United.
Cochrane's going to be the bigger. I think Cochrane's a bigger deal than Thomas Frank personally.
So we shouldn't really be too consumed by transfers right now. We should just wait and see. You know, if we sell some, we sell some. Develop the existing players. You got Mikey Moore, develop him.
Here we go.
Both, right?
No, you're all saying no.
Hang on. Just because you bring in a good coach.
This is what we criticised Ange for. We all criticised Ange for this. We all said who's he developed. We all said
but that we can't roll every issue into one thing. Like, one of the reasons why people like me didn't like Ange because he can't coach. That doesn't mean that whoever I want coming in to take over Tottenham, I go, right, don't buy any more players, coach. I think there are going to be players there that whoever it is, whether it was Frank, Guardiola, whoever's managing, will go, I can coach this guy. I'll coach them better. But there are other positions where you look at and we all know we need better.
Yeah, but we all said this team is better than what we're seeing. It should be much higher up the table. 100%
it is.
It will be. Right, so therefore, coach these players to be.
Hang on. No, but like
you can't have it both ways.
No, I don't want it both ways.
You can't because one contradicts the other.
Within the context of this squad has so much more about it than we got out of it last season. Within that context. I didn't blame Ange for this, by the way. I blamed the board and Conte for not fixing the biggest hole in our squad that has been there for years and years and years, is the inability and the lack of urgency in replacing a Wanyama or a Dembele, like replacing a guy that can do a defensive block and sit and protect that line. The absence of him is like Manchester City without Rodri. There is only so much you can do, no matter how much polishing you can do of that lump of coal into a diamond. If you don't have the six, which for me is the most important by far, which is why I get annoyed with this. Like, why are we waiting around for Marinakis to finish his McDonald's so that we can pick up the phone and sort out Morgan Gibbs-White? I don't even care that much about Morgan Gibbs-White. Yes, he's an improvement on what we have, but he is not the best place and the best way to spend 60 million quid. We should be going after a six. That should have been the first dog out of the trap. Should have been a six, and it should have been 3 years ago under Conte. The inability to fix that means that I don't care what you coach, how much you get out of the rest of them, unless you go and get a better six than Bissouma.
Sean, you're happy.
Nothing materially changes.
The thing is,
you're happy with the Till signing, aren't you?
I like Matisse, yeah.
Yeah, we like it.
But you're happy to see us spend 35 million there, but then now you're talking.
I also said it wasn't the priority. I'm happy with the player. I like the player. I think we'll see a good. But
it wasn't.
The priority for me, and you can check the tapes. I've been saying it for 3 years. I've been saying it as long as the Bible. Go and get me a monster 6.
No, we all agree. I think we all agree. I think every Spurs fan with a brain cell knows we need a proper six. I think all of us. There's not going to be a disagreement there, is there? We need a six.
The thing is, Stel, right? When I look at Spurs over the last 2 years, right, bar one player who developed organically, not one player progressed under Ange Postecoglou, in my opinion, right? Most of the squad regressed. 22 defeats tells you we had regression.
I don't disagree, by the way.
So when I look at a hands-on coach, for example, if I look at Oliver Glasner, okay, at Crystal Palace, and I look at someone like Ismail Sarr, right, who was going nowhere in his career. He peaked so early and then went off the rails at what he was doing. Look at someone like Mateta, who couldn't hit a barn door, and then suddenly hands-on coaching turns him round. He gets rid of Anderson, right, for 35 million, brings in Lacroix. Suddenly Lacroix's performing, like there's no tomorrow, right? Look at Walton, he stepped up. Top coaches develop players. So your point, Stel, I agree with that. I expect to see progression and hands-on coaching and the understanding of their responsibility as a footballer to the team, the understanding of relationships between players and how important it is that the right back understands what the right winger's doing, what the midfielders, and that's why he's very much in on triangles, Thomas Frank. And I think over a time, if he does get given time, to your point, he will develop these players and kids will improve. But that does not negate.
That's the point I was making. That's what I expect to see, right?
Not negate the need for transfers, right? The club need transfers. The club needs fantastic.
Yeah, Johnny, I agree. Yeah. But the reason I said it is because, and do you know what? Let me ask the question now. Let's do it now because it's the first show, and then when the season ends, we can come back to it. Where do you, if we weren't to sign any more players, and we were just to go with the current squad as it is, with the signing of Tell and Kudus, I'm sure we'll sign another player. I'm sure we will. Where do you expect us to finish in the league? Because with Ange.
If the window finished now and everybody's squad is how it is.
Yes, yeah. We'll go, yeah, because that's going to be the competition. Because with Ange, we did finish 5th place.
But that was 2 years ago. And
I know. Their squads have changed. But so
We've got a segment about this particular topic coming up. So
yeah, we have.
All right. I just want everyone to make their predictions today.
100%. We'll get to that. But that is a segment that we're going to talk about. Yeah.